A huge welcome to Virat, CMO of Hyundai India. Welcome to Trailblazers, Virat.
Thank you, Jasper. Thank you, WION, for inviting me.
I mean, transparency is this sort of absolute term where it sounds like the brand should unburden themselves of all of their knowledge, but of course it's quite limited and you can overshare. How do you think about transparency in Hyundai or other brands you've worked with, Virat?
So, Jasper, good to be specific about transparency. Trust is actually a very, very, very large topic. And I think transparency is just one of the pillars that tries to build in trust for any organization. I would think that being over-transparent is also not a bad thing, especially in a category like cars, which is a high-involvement category. And somebody who invests in a category like cars, even a brand like Hyundai, will not only be a customer, but his or her entire family will be a consumer in a lot of different, and it will be resulting in a lot of different experiences. So by over-transparent, I mean that A, you should give out all the relevant specifications on a product, but also for people who want to research more, who want to compare more. There is no harm in the company coming forward and giving more information for somebody who's a little bit more of a discerning buyer or a discerning owner. Here I mean not only things about the specific product in consideration, but also things about the brand, the heritage, the legacy, the scope of operations, something that we learn in marketing about the augmented product. It's not only the Hyundai Creta or the Hyundai Verna that you will buy. You will also buy into the network. You will also buy into a lot of the brand experiences we give you. The consumer may choose to read through them or not read through them, but when you put them in black and white on your website, it delivers a very strong message that we are putting it out for you very clearly what we offer. It's your choice or your family's choice to experience this or to live with it or not. But I think it's good.
So it's good. So you almost kind of, you were on the side of sort of sharing more than sharing less. But Virat, before we get deeper into the topic, automotive industry, right? Two people implicitly in the automotive industry. Not always the most trusted industry, right? I mean, we all remember a time when we were buying diesel cars because we was told that was a better idea, then it wasn't a good idea. How do you think about trust and that heritage? Is it just the ups and downs, or is it?
No, as I said, it's a category that'll come into your house. It will stay with your family for 5 to 7 years at a minimum. So how will trust come to be believed by the consumer? A, whatever he has bought into from a specs point of view, from a price point of view, he gets the delivery. Also, he's bought into a regulatory and a safety framework of the region or the country the consumer is in. So if the company is talking about adhering to those regulatory, safety, emission frameworks, I think it is the responsibility of the organization to be saying true to what they have written as a word. And when I say we are being transparent and we are being trustworthy, I think it is the duty of the company, and it's the duty of a company like Hyundai, to be part of the framework that we are operating in. Some organizations across categories can sometimes have known or unknown errors to this point, but I think that's a sad situation. We strongly believe that what we commit, we should clearly deliver, if not over-deliver.
And how do you, so you know, automotive businesses, like many businesses, are very spec-driven. You know, it's the nature of the beast, Virat. But how do you ally values and all the things in an organization to the point before where people really mean it with the spec? How do you create that sort of yin and yang?
So it is always a feature-benefit relationship. The feature is the engineering side of the product. The benefit is what the consumer will drive out of it. I'll give you an example. In India now, we have the largest vehicle park of connected cars in the country, which is more than 400,000 cars on road. Our latest cars offer about 60 Blue Link features, which is the connected part of the car. Now that is just I would say the engineering side of it, or the technical side of it. Since very recently, we're sending our consumers monthly a vehicle health report. Now that tells you, is your airbag system okay? Is your parking brake working fine? Is your engine dynamics working okay? It just gives you an okay scorecard to tell the consumer that we are not only giving you the tech, we're also giving you the benefit of that tech.
Oh, it's like a personal health app, but it's for your car.
It's for the car. And you will not believe it. We are all marketeers. We do things like email marketing. The open rate on something like this is really, really good. People are concerned to know that if you've got a product which is that innovative and technologically advanced in your garage, how is it doing sitting there? So these kinds of, again, transparent, proactive communications for the brand really gives us repeat purchase. What is going to happen in the end of the day? You need brand advocates as consumers, and you need repeat purchasers. Today, our statistics tells us that 1/3 of our cars are repeat purchasers, which is a big thing in a heavily competitive industry.
Okay, but let's try and kind of do a little beauty parade. You work for Renault, you work for Tata, you work for Hyundai. Why would I trust one more than the other?
So it's a consumer journey. Obviously, we know from awareness to purchase. When you start getting into buying a mobility option, you will obviously start from, I will do shared mobility or I will do own mobility. When you get into own mobility, you will go psychographically, demographically, what you want to buy. Suppose you land on a segment or a body type. Then, from our point of view, a consumer looks at least 3 different brands or 3 different, I would say, product brands. It comes down to budget, it comes down to specs, it comes down to ownership experience, word of mouth, and ultimately a lot of it is under the umbrella of trust. Jasper owns a car, Virat owns a car, Jasper liked it, Virat didn't like it, etc., etc., etc. But when the car reaches the household, then you start to get in loyalty, you start to get in advocacy, which is coming out of your ownership experiences.
Oh, so it becomes an emotional...
Absolutely.
So all other things are equal, and then the X factor is an emotional link of some
And we
sort.
do a brilliant thing nowadays is that we are seeing this in a lot of categories, also in cars. It's not the customer or the buyer who makes the decision. It's the children, it's the spouses, it's the relatives. And a lot of these decisions are what not to buy rather than what to buy. So we also have to convince or talk to all the other members of the family.
So it's sort of becoming like an ecosystem of trust.
Absolutely.
And in that sense, Virat, I mean, you're... I hesitate to use the term veteran, because sometimes people... You're a very experienced marketeer, but was it easier when you started, Virat, in the kind of pre-digital age to create trust, in a way?
I would say it is not easier, to be very frank, because in the non-digital age, you have also got restrictions on means of communication. Means of communication were slow and far apart. In the digital age, if the company has the right mindset, you can communicate faster, you can communicate complete, and you can communicate convenience to the consumer. So I believe as marketeers, the screens are smaller and the screens are many, but I think it is more convenient and I think it's more clear for the consumer on what we want to communicate.
Okay, I mean, we're coming into the home straight of the conversation, Virat, here, but I want to pick a particular area, which is electrical vehicles. We talk a lot about on the show. You may or may not know anything as a consumer, but you have this sort of nagging fear that you're going to run out of road, right? How do you guys, on that particular topic of range anxiety, create trust?
So the good part of electric vehicles is that we will not get the first-time buyer to an electric vehicle. Mostly the consumer would be using ICE, an internal combustion engine, before he comes into the EV bandwagon. So yeah, he's not had so much range anxiety in an ICE vehicle because he will find a fuel pump at the right corner. The range anxiety only gets fueled from the fact that we are not aware where is the next fueling point of an EV. That's the main thing. So as a conscious organization, we are setting up EV charging, obviously at our dealerships, obviously at the consumers' homes, but on key highways. We are doing a large EV expansion for network in our home state in Tamil Nadu. But I would suggest to you, it is a reason to buy or not to buy. But range anxiety is something that will evolve very fast when more and more consumers start to come into the EV space. Today it is, I don't think, the top reason of not to buy. There are several other things that come into the EV product. But as an organization, we just need to give them charging. We need to give them fuel timing or refill timing on the cars, and where is the nearest charging station we can provide.
I see. And I mean, we should finish on this point because it's very interesting listening to you, Virat, because a bit like Deepak, you come back to the same thing, which is it's a long game, right? And it's always changing. The range increases. And I think the other thing we're taking from this is this idea that, you know, trust is a composite of many things,
A big
right?
composite.
It's not a single
Trust is a
thing.
composite of the product, the experience, the promise, the heritage. Can I call up somebody in the brand and talk about a problem that I have? And an over delivery on whatever we promised. So transparency, I think, is just one of the tools to achieve trust in today's environment.
Well said, Virat. I'm thinking of getting a new car. I might just get a Hyundai based on.
Now we're talking business. Perfect.
Now we're talking. Thank you so much, Virat.